Alrighty, so I've just walked out of the stadium, and I originally was going to do this video inside the stadium, but as I was about to start this video, they decided to kick me out because, it's been 30 minutes since the game is over, and apparently that's long enough for them to basically kick everybody out. Originally, you're allowed to stay in the stadium for an hour, and there was something like called extra time where they allow you to stay at the stadium and stay at the Labina bar for an hour before they decide to kick you out. But I guess they don't do that anymore, or maybe this is just a COVID thing where, they're probably not going to do that until this pandemic is going to be over, or they decide to go back to full capacity, which, they did announce, I think, yesterday that the Quakes are going to be going back to full capacity, and that's going to be the next home game against the Galaxy in the Cali Classico. Also, I decided to do this recap 30 minutes after the game is over because I was still watching the LAFC versus the Rapids game. I was also watching that game while the Quakes and SKC was going on at the same time, and it was definitely not easy in terms of keeping track of both of these games. But I think once the Quakes basically went down 3-1 against SKC, it kind of made it a little bit easier for me, and I kind of started to concentrate more on that Rapids versus LAFC game, where that game was like, it was 2-1 at that time, and I was really keeping an eye to see if the Rapids can, of course, come back into that game. But, I'll talk a little bit more about that game in the review. Hopefully I'll do it later tonight, depending on if I can watch all the highlights from some of the games that I did not watch the full action in time before I, of course, do the review. And if not, I'll basically just do it tomorrow before the first game that is going to happen. But either way, as I mentioned, the Quakes, they suffer another loss in this game. It's the third straight loss that they had in the last 3 games, and this time they suffer a 3-1 loss against Sporting KC. And yeah, this was just not a great performance from the Quakes. I mean, it got off to a good start with the Quakes getting that 1-0 lead, and Showface, with an amazing goal, definitely in contention for goal of the week. But, after the first 20 minutes where, the Quakes were pretty much dominating this game, and SKC was just kind of getting pinned back in their own half, and I thought we would probably maybe get a second goal and was just going to walk over SKC in this game. SKC kind of woke up after that, and rightfully so. I mean, I didn't think SKC was going to just let the Quakes have all the possession and kind of dictate the play, and they kind of started to come back into this game, and eventually I think they also got the equalizer in the first half, I believe, or it might have been no, it was the first half. They, of course, got the equalizer, and once they, of course, got the equalizer, the momentum was definitely for them, and we were kind of just holding on to make sure that this game was going to head to 1-1 heading into halftime, which we exactly did that. And then, in the second half, we did start to show some fight back, and we, again, had a couple of chances in this game. And this is another thing that frustrates me about the Quakes in these past couple of games, is where there always tends to have these big moments in the game where they have a chance to maybe tie the game up or take the lead. And here, I think one of the big moments of this game was in the 57th minute when Rios basically had a free header from about 4 yards out, and yeah, he basically had a Kyoto moment and basically missed that one wide. And honestly, when I saw Rios in the starting 11, I was definitely not happy about that. And I've always been a critic of Rios, and you probably know why I'm always a critic and always hate on Rios, because he just does not offer anything to this team. And tonight was another good example of this game where he basically just offered nothing to this team, and that he almost is like a lamppost up front and doesn't really help out on the attack. And again, going back to that play, he had a big opportunity to score, but he missed it. And then just 3 minutes later, SKC went on the other end to, of course, score that second goal. I believe it was Polito, the one that scored the second goal. But yeah, just like that, it was 2-1. And after SKC did get that second goal, they really basically get that momentum back to them and start dominating play. I mean, Polito actually almost made it 3-1 just a couple of minutes later, but the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. But you kind of knew that SKC were having all the momentum, and ultimately they did get that third goal to pretty much kill this game off. I mean, the Quakes did try to maybe make it interesting, but I think as soon as when Tim Melia, who I thought he had another good game in this one, making a couple of decent saves, and also there was like that one point when Jackson Hughes somehow found himself free and he basically hits it straight to Tim Melia. That's where I knew the Quakes were not going to score. Like I've said this before, where there's times late in the game when the Quakes were missing chances. Something tells me that is pretty much it, and this is kind of like the last straw, thinking that there's no way the Quakes are going to win the game, and indeed that is going to be the case. Or what I meant is the Quakes is probably not going to score, but they're also probably not going to win the game too, and that of course is exactly the case in this one. So yeah, it's a very frustrating night, but we just got to move on into the next game, which it doesn't get any easier for the Quakes in the next game when they play against the Galaxy on the road. And this is also a start of where the Quakes are going to go through that murderous row of a schedule where they're going to be pretty much on the road every single week. They only have like one home game that is going to be that Cali Classico in late June, which is now going to be at PayPal Park. But after that, they're not going to have another home game until July, so they're going to be on the road a lot. And that this team so far this season, again, I don't think it's been a bad start to the season from the Quakes. I mean, compared to previous year under Almeida, previous year I've seen worse start from this team than I have in previous year. But my concern about this year, especially what I've said before, when I look at the schedule and how tough it is in the middle part of a lot of road games, and knowing the fact that the Quakes don't actually do well on the road, we just had to win a lot of these home games. And so far, I mean, we did do a good job, at least in the beginning, winning our home games. But in these last couple of ones, and especially doing this free game home stretch, it's been a rough ride from the Quakes. And if they lost all three of these home games, and really these last three home games were really a big test to see whether or not the Quakes are indeed actually maybe going to be contender, or the fact that they are probably going to be pretender. As I'm actually going to try to walk in a spot where there may be a little bit light. You probably are unable to see my face right now, and I also got to be careful because I'm walking on dirt right now. Don't want to trip myself while I'm doing this quick recap. Oh, there we go. There's a light here. So yeah, as I said, these last three games, it really have shown that the Quakes are clearly pretender, and that this team has a long ways to go if they want to be competing. And I also feel like in the summer we got to get a real DP. Like, it is pretty clear that we just do not have enough attacking quality on this team. And also we might need to maybe think about getting some defenders, because I thought the defense tonight wasn't actually that good either. But yeah, let's see how the next game is going to be when we play against the Galaxy. And also, by the way, with me doing this quick recap, this doesn't mean that I'm, of course, not going to talk about this game in the review. I'm actually going to talk about this game once again in the review, but I'll go a little bit more in depth because I don't have the notes right now as I'm recording this recap. And usually when I do the review and actually look at what happened in the game, I do heavily rely on the notes and heavily rely on the stuff that I wrote on the board to actually show what happened in that game. So if this is not a detailed review, well, that's because this is just a quick recap and just me kind of 30 minutes to gather my thoughts after seeing another tough loss that the Quakes, of course, suffer against Sporting KC. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And again, regarding these quick recap video, I'll only do these video unless I'm not doing like a match vlog. I mean, when I do a match vlog, I will not do these quick recap because you'll probably watch the match vlog and see what happened in the game. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.